Let me check and see. Next one, it's just the sample fighter check-in, which is you see behind me also on one of the screens on my left. Uh, it's these are the two main sample uh, brief cards that the JTAC as well as the pilot should have the same one. One is the close air support check-in briefing, which the pilot usually uses it, but also good for the JTAC to have it so that the JTAC can record and keep stock of your armaments or your assets that is out there. And then of course the 9-line close air support briefing format is the most what you call that? It's a most summarized way of coming with a very structured communication between the JTAC and the air unit on a very complicated situation. Even though it's still 9-line, it seems complicated, but without this, it's worse lah. So if you look at the close air support check-in briefing, basically you have the aircraft lines. You call in your call sign, and then you talk to the JTAC's call sign. Mission number is there. You usually there's a mission 001 for us. If we don't implement, but why not? Like sometimes we just go realism, just masuk lah. And then you have the number and type of aircraft. This is a check-in by the pilot. Let's say I have two F-18s. I'll call in. Uh, I'll tell you the flow later lah. Then you have a position and the altitude, the ordinance, the time on station, and you have the types of sensors and the abort code. Typically, what it is that the pilot will come in and say that we are on IP Dodge, ready for my check-in. Then the JTAC will say things like proceed for check-in. This is Reaper 11. Sorry, you call in Crossroad. This is Reaper 11. Mission 665. Two times F-18 on station, currently 200 meters from IP North at Angels 15. Coordinates will come with 1,600 rounds of 40 millimeters guns, 6 Hellfires, 2 MK82. Time on station would be 60 mics for playtime. Able to self-designate, or I have FLIR, lantern, whatever. Those are the optics that they have. Or you can just say no sensors available. Abort code would be abort, or abort could be nuclear, whatever it is lah. So that's how you check in. So when you check in, then the JTAC would know that you have on station two F-18s which are able to do either what kind of CAS, able to take out tanks or whatever. 9-line will go down to details in a while, but basically it just tells you a request on how to attack certain targets. Okay. The next one is just actually the sample of actual field, something that's filled already, so that it's good for you to also look through it for reference. Just exactly what I mentioned just now. Okay, and move to the next one. The CAS briefing is also actually another better sample for you just to look at it. But just the addition to this is on the left side of it, from the 9-line card, there's an offset direction. I think what I'll do, the CAS briefing itself, I'll go into details of the 9 lines already. Um, you see that on the right side is the 9-line. Usually what it is the 9-line will start with this. The JTAC and the pilot will communicate. Let's say the JTAC will tell the pilot ready for 9-line. The pilot would say send your 9-line. JTAC will start with this, as you see on the 9-line card. Let's say the pilot is, or the RSA is called Enfield 11, and the JTAC is called Death Star. So you start with Enfield 11. This is Death Star 11. Type 1 control in effect. Now this is the actual flow. By right, in reality, they don't call out the line 1, line 2. They just go through the whole thing to cut the thing as short as possible. So for real pilots and all that, they do that. But when we are in game, we just call it out, like, if you don't understand, just call line 1 forward, line 2. But in reality, since we just in this topic, I just go through how real things work in the the real life one. Not that I'm a pilot, but I've seen enough on YouTube and all that, and a lot of reading. Um, it goes Enfield 11, the Destar 11, Type 1 control in effect, Ford 040, right, 3.3, 40 meters. IFR on the road 06014835, marked by Willie Pete. Troops in contact south 1000, west to Ford, ready for remarks, ready to copy remarks. That's how it goes in the real one. The real world, they skip all the the initial things. And for the pilot, when they have the when you have this 9-line card, they just start filling in already. Okay, what it means in detail. Enfield 11 is their star. You call your call signs. Type 1 control in effect. I'll go through type 1, type 2, type 3 later. There's 3 types of CAS control. Okay, Ford means the IP Ford, where you ask the aircraft to begin his approach. So there's a predetermined IP on the map most of the time during planning. If not, there's also, you can always plan on the go also lah. That is the IP. The heading 040 is for the aircraft to have a heading from the IP. That means once he reached the IP, he has to come in his heading of 040. Meaning, let's say the IP is somewhere on the uh, south, let's say on the south. That means once he reached IP, regardless where he comes to into the IP, he have to move towards the northeast side of 040 already. Offset of right or left is like on the card that you see on the left side. Uh, you would sometimes have a left or right offset, but not all the time. Sometimes there's no offset at all. You just said 040, then you go to distance already. Offset is to get the plane to offsets its approach away from any ongoing artillery support coming from the left side. Here you see that offset right because there are artillery on the left side already. Because if he were to suddenly go on the left side, he'll be conflicting with the artillery. So yeah, that's what it means by offset left and right. Distance is 3.3, meaning from the IP to the target is 3.3 clicks, and then the elevation is 40 meters off the what you call this off the target. Elevation, it's used because in real life, when the A10 starts to key in the all these things into its computer, onboard computer, the elevation would help the accuracy of the targeting computer to make sure that the rounds fall on target, because elevation and distance would be in relevance to each other to make sure that the targeting computer knows how to calculate how to weapons release onto the targets lah. But in Arma, obviously, it's not what you call it molded in it, but then you have the target restriction, IFV on the road, or troops in the open, or BTR in the open. You can, or whatever the description of target lah. You will have to mention that. T90 in the open. Then you go to target location is actually the grid. Now here he has a 8 grid digit. Usually what it says, most of the times what JTAC also do is to say standby, or you said 4 grid, 8 digit grid, or 6 digit grid, or 10 digit grid. In Arma, usually it's a 6 digit grid, but sometimes you really want to go into a very detailed precision target. You can actually add the 4th digit, the what you call it, 8 digit, that means the 4th digit in each axis. You can agak on the map also. If even you don't see it, you can know what is. You can divide it into segments and call the last 4th digit. Here is 06014835. Sometimes you will hear people call in things like Golf Romeo 045 675 or something like that. The Golf Romeo is actually a MGRS GPS coordinates using MGRS. They have 2 alphabetical grids in the front one. Arma, you don't use it at all. But if you hear radio calls next time, you know it's Charlie Mike 0601 4835. You know it's a MGRS way of talking. Marked by Willie Pete. Willie Pete is white phosphorus. It's one of the acronyms they call it. For For marking of targets, you have WP, which is really peat, which is white phosphorus, or other words, white smoke lah. You use it for, it can be red smoke, but it's just smoke. When you call it really peat, we will understand that it's smoke. You have laser, you have IR, you have uh, IR grenades and all that. So those are your marking, all right? There's another type of mark also later on. I just quickly brief. It's also called talk on, because sometimes you don't have a mark. You have to talk on to the pilot to give him directions to the mark. So that's called a talk on. Location of friendly, very important. Troops in contact. That means you guys are in contact. South of 1,000, south 1,000, meaning the troops is actually in contact south 1 click from the target. Okay. And you can also add in a position mark by blue smoke if you have lah. And then egress west to fort. That means you tell the pilot to get out of it for on the westward exit back to IP fort. Then it will say ready to copy remarks. So after the pilot say, you have to wait for the pilot because the pilot is writing all these things down right now. Then when the pilot said ready to copy remarks, then only you tell him the remarks. Remarks is pretty much remarks lah. You can usually most remarks people will tell them to use what ordinance, use AGM, use guns. Also to inform him there is also a threat on the north side 500 meters, which is the Zeus or ZSU that's over there. You also tell the using the remark to tell the pilot to go into a final attack heading, which is a certain cone that he can goes into attack the thing and cannot get out of the cone because friendlies are too close. And you can also tell him that you have to be on the time to target. TOT is a time on target. You must be at a certain time. If all those are not necessary, you could just say remarks, use guns. And that's it. Full stop. That's it. All right. Any question on the line? Actually,
Yes, I got.
sure. Go with James first. James, I don't hear you.
Oh, okay. Go with First. Okay. Just one question. What if the target is on the move, especially when they are not going to be in the same grid and they're heading somewhere? How do you actually report that?
Okay, that's a good question. You see, this is the 9 line. Later on, there's a flow of the 9 line between the JTAC communication with the planes or the aircrafts. So usually, sometimes later on, I'll just go through one time the script. You would notice that there are a few things in between one when they go through the script. Let's say after the 9 line is done, he's already taken down all the 9 lines. Then the pilot would to move to the position and says he will say he will repeat that like he will do a read back. Usually the read back is the grid, the elevation and the grid. So once you finish, let's say you finish the read back and all the remarks already, you both are in sync already. He will say inbound IP right now. So he will tell you that you will know that he already reached IP and he's now in from the north or in from the south. That means he's coming into your target area already. When he say in, that means he's coming into the target. That's when you would say continue. Now, when you say continue means the target is still there. But if the target move, you would tell him standby, target have moved. You would tell him that so that he would at least understand that, that the target has moved. Target is now located west 200 meters from point. So he will know at least it's not too far away, only 200. He will start to scan and he finds it. That's because, but if the target didn't move at all, he's still on the same spot. That's when you say continue. Then he will continue to go through. Then when he says, when he continues and he sees the target, he will call contact, ready for attack. That's when you clear him hot. But now let's say things can change also. The target don't move and he's coming in already. You continue. He continues to move to the target and he says, I have eyes on the target. He's going to attack already. You can say abort because suddenly out of the blue, friendlies go into the same area. So if you clear hot, then everything smooth lah. He will continue to weapons release and then off to the east or off to the west, and then you give the better damagement. That's when the communication between the JTAC and the pilot is very important to continue to clear hot or to abort. This is what is called the talk on between the JTAC and pilot. Achai, just now you said you have a question also. Kurnia, sorry.
Yang heading 040 tu, kita arahkan pesawat pusing ikut bearing tu ke?
Ya, itu bearing pesawat, bukan you punya bearing tau. Bukan bukan apa tu?
Kita nampak kita bagi semua ikut bearing tu.
You mesti bagi dia arahan untuk ikut bearing itu. That means, you see, kalau the pilot masuk dia punya IP, kan? If let's say lah, you mau dia just go straight and tembak pun boleh. Tapi let's say dia kat IP kan, dia masuk 040. Kalau you tak bagi dia tahu, dia mungkin pergi 090, then after 090 dia sampai satu tempat dia pusing atas lagi kan. So mungkin kat 090 dia ada air threat atau ada triple A tau. So kalau you tahu ada triple A kat sana, you mesti bagi dia tahu mana dia mesti pergi dia arah. Meaning kalau you sudah tahu dia punya map, you sudah tahu dia punya situation kat kanan, kat direct east tu ada satu triple A, dia punya northwest tu ada mungkin ada satu triple A ke, atau ada kita punya artillery punya mission kat sana. So you mesti bagi dia tahu dia tak boleh pergi 090 because sana ada triple A. Dia tak boleh pergi terus north pun because kita pun ada satu artillery punya mission kat sana. So you mesti bagi dia kau yang tempat dia punya macam punya jalan untuk masuk 040.
Okey, maknanya kalau kita nak kesan kedudukan pesawat kat atas udara tu macam mana?
So usually you sudah plan, you buka you punya map, you tahu you punya IP kat mana, you tahu punya target kat mana, dan you punya map pun ada triple A kat mana. You buatlah you bagilah dia macam satu path, perjalanan yang you mau dia pergi. So you buatlah macam satu garisan. You boleh tulis lah, you boleh lukis kat map ke apa garisan dia macam dia punya path kat sini, macam ni pun cantik. Especially
kalau dekat map tu saya tulis orbit dekat belah timur.
Orbit
kanan. Kan?
Yang I don't get the question. You punya apa tu? Sorry.
Okay, macam pesawat sebenarnya ada dekat orbit. Orbit yang saya tanya dalam map tu kan. Dia tengah pusing-pusing. Lepas tu dia tengah pusing, lepas tu kita arahkan dia gerak ke 040 lah. Nanti dia gerak ke 040 lah macam tu.
Betul lah. Because dia orbit kat IP, dia punya IP, dia punya starting point. Initial point. Dia punya starting point kat sana. So dia tak mungkin dia kat dia sekarang kat mungkin 1 km west of IP. Dia mungkin kat sana. Dia orbit kat sana. Tapi you suruh dia pergi sampai IP Fort. That means dia akan make his way to IP Fort. That means earlier dia 2 km west of IP Fort lah. So now he's making his way to IP Fort. Bila dia sampai IP Fort, he have to make a 040 punya bearing from the IP. Then when he goes to the 040 punya IP, okay, you tengok like macam you tengok dia punya kat kiri punya tu CAS Briefing kat kiri kan. You tengok dia punya the picture kat sana, dia ada IP kat bawah kan. Then kat left side dia ada friendly artillery kan. Okay. Mungkin pesawat tu ada kat location sekarang ada kat macam 1 km northwest, southwest of the IP, kat bawah. So you bagi IP Fort yang kotak yang segi 4 punya kotak kat IP sana. Bila dia sampai kat sana, IP initial point, you tengok dia mesti pergi 040 tu. That is about 040. Sikit kanan dari 040. So from there dia mesti pergi 040, tapi ini ada offset right, so dia pusing lagi kanan sikit towards the target. So bila you direct dia punya traffic, dia punya pesawat macam tu, dia akan masuk sana 040, and then bila dia 040, dia akan pusing into the target.
Okay.
That means, oh, I think I understand your question. Nanti you kata 040, dia 040 dia pergi terus saja kan? Dia tak pergi target. No. Bila dia sudah ada dia punya target, dia punya grid you dah bagi kan? So you bagi grid, dia tahu dia punya target kat mana dah. So bila dia tahu dia target kat mana, tapi you punya initial point punya heading, you akan direct dia pergi kanan sikit. So bila dia pergi kanan sikit, dia tahu dia pergi kanan sampai satu tempat yang dia akan belok kiri lagi. Then dia akan belok kiri, then from there dia akan masuk into the target. I know what you mean. Now I know. Meaning you kata bagi 040 dia pergi, so 040 dia pergi terus saja. Dia off dia punya target dah. Tak ada. Dia punya heading is a offset punya heading. Initial point punya heading. You boleh bagi dia terus lah. Dia bagi 360 heading. That means dari IP dia 360 dia pergi terus sampai target pun boleh. Atau you boleh bagi dia 090, that means dia pusing kanan, then dia akan belok.
Okay, dia akan ikut kompas lah kan? Bearing kompas lah kan?
Betul. Tu kompas, tapi dia punya bearing bukan you punya bearing. Aircraft punya bearing.
Aircraft punya bearing, faham.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, I have one question, Gadget.
Sure.
This 9-line what we have here is just for one target. Just in case if there's like multiple targets but they are spread out, do we include it in all one 9-line or we'll separate it?
Okay, good question again. That's upcoming. That is the same 9-line, but it's a different type of control. That's why just now I said type 1, type 2, type 3. Multiple targets will be a type 3 control. I'll tell you in detail. Okay? Any more questions for this?
Gadget.
Sure.
Say if we are in a rush and the enemies are coming closer, can we just say like simple north to west heading like that instead of bearing?
Yes, you can. Usually what happens is this. This is the full 9-line. Okay, this is the one that when you have a full 9-line and you are the master, you have a good planning. Now, when the shit hits the fan, or even before the shit hits the fan, if you want, sometimes the the 9-line can be shortened to you heard before, a 5-line lah. Usually helicopters and all that can be a 5-line only, because helicopters or rotary aircraft, dia tak payah IP tau, because they already hovering, so they don't have to have a start point. So a lot of times when you use rotary punya 9-line, they will usually they will go through this, and this is the flow. Line 1 2 3 4 kan, dia akan kata 1 2 3 4 NA. You will hear sometimes people say NA, not applicable. So sometimes they'll say 1 2 3 4 not applicable, or usually they say NA lah. 1 2 3 4 NA. IFV on the road. That means straight away you masuk to line 5 already. Okay? 1 2 3 4 NA. IFV on the road 0601 4835. Marked by Willie Pete. Then you already shorten it banyak already. Alright? That's one way. Now, the other way is when the shit really hits the fan. When everything goes to hell, then you start into pretty much a free flow already, which I did also at one time dengan MK. When the shit hits the fan, it's pretty much free flow, danger close. I do want you to lay it on me. Macam tu lah, you pernah dengar lah. Or you just said the basic stuff. Position of friendly, marked by blue smoke. Enemies currently is 700 meters west of blue smoke. Take it out, something like that. Then you free flow, but at least you ada dia punya once you understand the key information that is important for the pilot to quickly get eyes on what you need to do, then it's good. Like I said lah, you tak payah ikut semua. You say my position marked by blue smoke, enemies danger close 300 meters on northeast of my position, take it out. Then they say, are you sure? Take it out, man, lay it on me. That's when you all get, because 300 meters is bloody close for any close air support. So that's how you that's the kelang kabut part lah. But at least you janganlah kelang kabut to the point, take it out, you know, enemy shooting at me. On right, the house, putih punya rumah kat sana, putih punya rumah. Apalah. Panic aku lah. I said, biasa, you know we get that crap all the time kan. Then the worst thing in the other is, enemy is firing me from the White House. First thing I say, who the hell is this? You don't even call your call sign now. So main thing is that you call Reaper 1-1. This is Desta 1-1. My position is marked by blue smoke. Then okay lah. At least sometimes they shout on the radio. I have no idea who is shouting also, because call sign itself also was missing. That's very common when kita semua panic. That's why one of the pilots, the real pilot, the JTAC, they must be one of the most balls of steel, man. They are very, very, apa cakap? They are very, yeah, I like their styles actually. I just found it out. Why not, man? Anyways, yeah, they are very calm. You notice, and sometimes you think the one that habis one is the Vietnam punya movies, who when they call the fire, they under fire by everywhere. The JTAC on the Vietnam punya, they gila. They were just screaming on the phone. All right. Anything further? If not, I go into the next slide. Okay, is a sample Medivac line. Now, I'm not going to go in detail because Medivac itself is a completely different line. It gets very confusing if you ask me lah. But I leave this sample Medivac line for those who are interested to take a look. In game, I usually use the same line just to get the aircraft to the position and just dapat. But one important thing for Medivac, even if you use the other line, is to inform how many patients are down. Because why? If I'm far away at base, I either have a little bird, or I could actually have a Chinook or a Black Hawk. So if let's say you have only one man down or two men down, I may actually bring a little bird just to come and get you guys out of there. But if you have 6 men down or upper, then I have to consider bringing the Black Hawk. So sometimes when you're calling a 9-line for Medivac, important is to inform how many, what they call it, of course the location of pickup, radio frequency and all that. But you notice in the Medivac line, number of patients. But for our purpose, we just use number of patients lah. Because in real life, they also ask what kind of extract you want. Dia ada macam they call it a litter, Litter. It's like a basket they will lower down from the hoist to carry atas. So they need to bring the litter, they need to bring some equipment, ropes ke apa semua. That's why the 9-line in the Medivac in detail punya, they are quite different. Some of them to the point whereby kat bawah tu 9-line tu, this NBC is the part whereby it's called the nuclear apalah. It's mainly nuclear contamination punya lah. So they need to also bring in proper apa tu, I think kita punya Arma medical ada tau, atrophonim, I think. The injection, atrophonim or something like that, is for atropine or something. That's for biological warfare punya, macam biological warfare punya morphine tau, or the epi tau. So for Medivac, sometimes they need to know whether is kena Scud missile tu, kena apa tu, bio warfare, then they have to bring the right medicine or the right equipment. So that's why Medivac ada sikit lain, but this is just for your extra info. But kita punya purposes, kita guna yang biasa and just add in to say that we have berapa patient je, that's it. Okay. Now next one. Okay, now next one is the next section is actually in the one important section. James, when you said how do we control if multiple and all that. Now in JTAC there's 3 major types of CAS call. There's type 1, type 2 and type 3. In this slide, after the Medivac 9-line brief card, the next slide you will notice, I won't go through, I try to cut this down because it looks like quite interesting. We are passing the 2-hour mark already. This one basically just tells you on the left side is a graph on how the call will come in. The type 1 control is a control whereby the JTAC has a visual on the target. At the same time, JTAC has a visual on the aircraft itself. And that's when you call a type 1. Okay, so when the JTAC has visual on the BTR card, the AO, and he knows that he basically the visual on the aircraft means by the time the aircraft comes for an attack, he can see the aircraft. Right now, he can't see the aircraft. The aircraft is maybe 9 miles or 9 clicks kilometers away. He won't be able to see the aircraft, but he can see the target, and nothing is obstructing him from the visual of the aircraft when it's coming. Most likely from an OP lah. Yeah, up a hill there, he's observing everything. He can see everything. Then you call a Type 1 control. Okay, so the Type 1 control, if you look at the left side, is actually a illustration of what I mentioned on the 9 line tadi. IP Plymouth is where he's going to start, and then he's going to go 360 degrees on the offset right to ingress into the target. Then you will see a final attack heading, which is the cone I mentioned. That's where the target is about grid 367971. And then above the target, there is a ZSU, one click north of the target is a air threat ZSU. At the same time, they also have kita punya friendly artillery hitting the. So you see that whole scenario there. On the right side is the flow. I'll just go through the flow sekali, and then after that you get an understanding. You can read it again and get an understanding. Now I will start from the point whereby it says JTAC. Now so IP Plymouth and there's A10s on station, right? So JTAC will say, you boleh nampak tak? The fonts boleh tak?
Yeah.
Okay. JTAC says Dragon 3-1. This is Icebox 1-1. This will be a Type 1 control advice when ready for 9 line. That means the Dragon 1-1 is the plane, Icebox is the JTAC. Dragon will now be calling in ready for 9 line lah. Okay, and he will know it's a Type 1 control. Type 1 control means he knows that you will be able to see me and you can see the target. That means, in other words, why is Type 1 is important is that he will be expecting changes, because when you can see the target, mungkin you will call me to abort or you call me to dry run ke apa, because like you say lah, the either the target have moved or enemy has masuk. Friendly have masuk. If the friendly enter the area that's hot, you will call me to abort. So I would expect that because I know it's a Type 1. Okay, so now attack aircraft will go and say Icebox 1-1, Dragon 3-1, ready to copy. Then that's when you will start, because now I have my notepad with me, and usually I have my laminated card and a whiteboard marker. I will just write down the things that you tell me. So when you tell me this, the JTAC will say Plymouth. Again, you notice that flow, I'll go through the flow as it is, because that you will know that it's line 1, line 2, line 2. So JTAC will say Plymouth 360 right, 9.1, 350, platoon of infantry dug in. Charlie Mike 367971, Willie Pete or White Phosphorus, south 900, troops in contact, egress east to Dodge, advise when ready for remarks. That's when you will always hear a JTAC go through this kind of thing. Acai will tahu, because I think Kurnia pun tahu, because kalau you main DCS, kita main punya JTAC, this is the thing that actually will tell you. That's when I'll be scribbling, writing everything. Then I will take the all this information, I'll key into the DCS punya A10 punya computer, and then from there I will slew my lantern, which is the optics, and I can see the target. Then I will follow through also. This is what the pilot does lah. So now, what it is quickly you can see Plymouth, the left side, you see that's the IP. 360 right, that means he's going to naik macam Kurnia tadi you cakap. Kalau 360 tu yang heading dia lah, that means dia naik terus atas, right? He's moving bearing 360. Tapi ada right tau, so dia akan pergi kanan sikit. That's where the final attack heading punya cone you nampak. Okay, so there's 360 right, because you know he's going to go that way, tapi dia akan pusing kanan sikit because there is also conflicting of artillery. Actually, the artillery is coming from the left side, not the top side. Ini salah dah. Okay, and then 9.1. 9.1 is the distance between the whole entire thing. That means from IP until the target. You notice on the graph there 9.1 km, and then 9.1 is target sampai IP. 9.1 350 is the that's the elevation. You tengok elevation kat target kat on the left side 350 meters. 350 is elevation. Platoon of infantry dug in, that's the target lah. That means dia punya platoon of infantry kat dia punya bunker kat dalam. Charlie Mike 367971, that's the grid of the target itself. White phosphorus or Willy Pete, that means you will be shooting either your grenade ke atau ada orang akan mark it with white smoke. South 900 troops in contact. You look at the target 900 south, that's where you guys are friendly. Okay, egress east to dodge. That means from after that they akan egress. There you look at the line, the egress kat kanan. That means it's going to move east, and then there will be another IP kata dodge. So now ready for remarks. So moving down there, I would say attack aircraft. You look after the advice when ready for remarks. Attack aircraft ready to copy remarks. Then JTAC will say this: final attack heading 285 to 330. That is what it means by, you see the cone up there, final attack heading 285 330. That means that is the cone that the aircraft can go into and fight. Because you know why? Kanan sikit is friendly dah. So he doesn't want you to go and come into a direction whereby you can conflict dengan friendly. Okay, so you will see final attack heading 285 330, ZSU 23 for north 1000. That means you tell you the atas ada the AAA kat sana, and continuous suppression gun line 045. That one is telling you that there is a continuous suppression on guns. That means artillery at gun line dia punya is 045. That one, honestly, I'm just putting here for your extra info, but hardly we use it in Arma lah. It just tells you there is continuous artillery from 045. Report when IP inbound. That means once you reach the IP, I have to call in the IP to the JTAC. Then he knows that I'm coming in already. Okay, report from IP inbound. Then the attack aircraft will just do a read back. 350, Charlie Mike 367971, final attack heading 285 330. Then you will say, the JTAC will say, read back correct. Time on target 50. So you confirm dia punya info dengan the aircraft punya info. Your info is accurate. You can read back correct. Then aircraft will say, Roger. TOT 50. 50 means within 50 minutes or 50 seconds, he has to make sure that he get to the time on target ready. All right. Now, right now, when the aircraft is flying and prior to any release of weapon, this is where he will start to call in the IP inbound already. That means when he reached the IP, he will say IP inbound, or Dragon 3-1 IP initial point or IP inbound lah. That's when Dragon 1-1 will say continue. That's where, James, you know, since it took him almost 3 minutes or 5 minutes to get to IP or to take all these things down, by the time he reached to IP, things have changed. If things didn't change, you would, as a JTAC, James, just now you mentioned, you will say continue. Then, okay, when I reach IP, I know I'm about 9 clicks already. For a 810, getting across 9 km is quite fast one. That's when you said mark is on the deck. The reason why I say IP inbound also, that's when you will release the smoke lah. If you release early, by the time I get there, the smoke habis also tak boleh mah. So that's why when I call IP inbound, then you know, then you let go the smoke. Or you can time it nicely that you agak-agak IP is 9 km, he probably take another 1 minute before he reach to the 4th km. You agak-agak, then when you count 1 minute, you let go smoke pun boleh. Okay, so mark is on the deck. Then the aircraft, when I see your smoke, I will say contact the mark. Then the JTAC, he will say from the mark south 100. That's when you're telling from the smoke, because your smoke may not be accurate. You can say the smoke is too far. You say south 100 from the smoke. So I know that it's slightly south 100 meters from the smoke lah. Okay. Where am I right now? Yes. And then when I see the smoke, I already say contact mark from the mark south 100. That's when I say Dragon 3-1 in from the east. That's when I'm coming from the attack final heading already. When I call it in, means it's the point of commitment already lah. Once I in already, I must commit already. Either you quickly said abort before I go in and commit. You say abort, or you said cleared hot. When you say cleared hot, I'm committing already. I'm going in and I'm going to take it out already. If friendly masuk that time, that's either you shout abort. If I'm on time, I can abort. Kalau tak ada, you probably get a lot of friendlies lah. And when I'm finished, I'll say when I clear hot, I finish already. I pickle. I said either I call it rifle or pickle or guns. And then I said Dragon 3-1 off 2 away. Yeah, this one means is off 2 away means he fired 2 missiles lah. Then the JTAC will say Dragon 3-2 leads hits west 100. That means my target is slightly west 100. That means I tak kena tau. So that's where this is where the BDA. If I kena means good hits. Kalau tak kena, you could say lead hits west 100. That means I hit west 100. I will have to adjust again if I come. Alright. Then Dragon 3-2 in from the southwest. I will come in for the second roll, and I will adjust fire and I'll kill. And below that, actually, there are some more that says good hits, mission complete, targets destroyed, egress east to return to IP Plymouth lah, macam tu. So that's the whole flow of Type 1. You pretty much know the whole flow already. Nothing to it. Senang kan?
In the list, there's a Dragon 3-2. That's the second jet, is it?
Yes, actually, you're right. There's let me see. There's Dragon 131. Yes, actually, you're right. In this case, there's a two A10s on station. The first one went in and it's on the right. What you saw just now is his lead hit. That's why it's a lead hit west to the 100. Then the second 3-2 is coming in. You're right. He can quickly adjust from the lead plane's offset. Then he will get the second time.
So the JTAC always only report to the lead of that unit. This Dragon 3-1 is the something like actual, and then the rest of his guys are on the JTAC as well.
Yes, usually you contact to the lead aircraft 3-1, and 3-2 usually talks to 3-1 unless let's say in this case 3-1 has moved on. Basically he's not talking to you, he's just reporting his in also. So he says 3-2 in from the southwest, he comes in, he can adjust fire from the lead's offsets.
Okay, but how this is a bit, I think, getting complex. If he got 3-1 and 3-2, right? When you send a JTAC request, do you actually state like you need all 2 to attack? Or actually there was a...
No. Usually what you do is you just talk to 3-1. 3-1 will coordinate with 3-2. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Right? Because that's his wingman or his element lead. He will manage that. You don't have to worry about 3-2. Alright? If 3-1 dies, and then of course 3-2 becomes lead lah. Okay, next slide. JTAC must, the Type 1 control, again like I said, for Type 1 you must be able to visually identify. You send a 9-line, and then you verify all the targets at this. Just now I already mentioned. The aircraft would usually read back line 4 and 6 only, and any restrictions. He won't go through the whole thing. He will usually talk about the line 4, which is the elevation. Line 6 is the grid, any restrictions. But if let's say you 1, 2, 3, 4 and A, he will just tell you the grid. Usually that's what we do like Arma, because we don't want to take too long. Kita just repeat the grid. You kata good read back, kita jalan. Then the JTAC usually will give a verbal description on a talk on or how to guide him directly to the mark upon getting closer. And then aircraft will call in IP inbound, JTAC will designate it with marks, and then they will do the weapons release. Then you as a JTAC will look at the target mark, and then look at the aircraft, and then make sure that there's you know where the enemy, I mean the friendly forces are. Give it the clear hot or give it an abort, and then give a BDA. That type 1. Okay. Type 1 also, if you next slide, you see the remarks. Remarks usually will use what kind of weapons you want him to deploy. You will tell what are the threats around the area, and also to give remarks on your friendlies, marked by what, marked by which, by either strobe lights or usually smoke or anything that can see that it's friendly lah. Then of the other restriction, you have a time on target. Between this time to this time, you must be there already, else things will start to change. Danger close, you must tell him that danger close, troops are in contact, is very close. And then restrictions is the airspace lah. Jangan masuk sini sana. Alright, moving to type 2. Now I won't go through the whole thing because type 1 is the main thing already. Type 2 is exactly the same as type 1 actually. The only difference is this. For type 2, JTAC cannot visual the target and cannot visual there's no visibility on the aircraft. When you can't do that, basically you are unable to guide. That's why you call it a type 2 control. For one good example is that you are with platoon lead, and then squad alpha is almost, let's say, 700 meters in front of you, behind some buildings, and he saw some armor coming, and he's calling like nobody's business. Armor is inbound, and he's requesting for a CAS. Now you know that the armor is coming in the position of squad alpha, and it's north 200 meters, and squad alpha has given you the location. You will be able to plot in the grid, but you cannot see it. Then you call it type 2, because you are relying on squad alpha's information. So when the pilot comes in and understand that it's a type 2, he may just commit because he may not hear abort or whatever, because you don't even know whether you should abort or not. So he has to be a lot more careful to make sure that he eyeballs the friendly and all that, so he knows. So now the process of it is the same thing, other than the front part is got this this what you call it, Enfield 11, this Desta 16. This will be a type 2 in control in effect. Then you know it's a type 2. Okay, type 1, type 2 summer, but type 3 will be the different one. Now there's one similarity of type 1 and type 2, very clear similarity, is that type 1 and type 2, the control is every single pass you must get a clear hot. That means type 1 and type 2, you must you go through one time already, you second time you must masuk again, you must ask for clear hot. You cannot go and whack as you want. So the JTAC controls every single pass. That's type 1 and type 2. Moving to type 3, next one. Type 3 is the most flexible one. Type 3 is where you as a JTAC cannot visual the target and cannot visual the aircraft. In other words, this is a area that is totally far away, like maybe even 10 kilometers away, or even that's where you get some reports that are coming in from. Maybe you have a squad over there, somehow it's like 5 km away. Your squad is telling you he has eyes, or you get a sniper recon unit that's calling the JTAC that he's in a certain area. Nampak the MSR has a convoy of enemies. You have no idea, you cannot see where it is, but you know all the grids and everything. Then you call a type 3 in control. Type 3 control in effect, meaning you allow the aircraft to go to that site, and you give him a general, you go through the same procedure, the description, the grid, everything, and then you lepaskan dia. That means once he calls in, he's in full control. He can repeat the attack. He can come back and kill the whole entire convoy. It's up to the aircraft already. So he is in full control of how many times he want to pass until he finish his Winchester on all his ammo, or until you call it and say disengage, I need you to RTB at this moment. Otherwise he's on his own. So for James, your question, this one he can go and do multiple contacts. He can clear the entire area, his discretion. Okay, question.
So basically type 2 is the JTAC is giving the directions for the target, but he cannot give any further information lah.
That's a firm. Mungkin there's also
Not as detailed as type 1, right?
correct. The type 1 is the most detailed. He can see, he can guide, he can control everything. Type 2, he has limited control. He knows the general position. He could be even kat dalam bunker, like it could be on his own position. Tapi he's not looking out because there's no way you guys are getting full suppression and all that. You cannot even stick your head out. You are under some sort of a bunker or in a building or anything. You will call type 2 already.
Right.
Question 1, 2, 3. The question 1, 2, 3. Move to the next slide. It's just pretty much a what you call that revision of what I mentioned already. Type 1, spot the target. But to do all that, you must assess the terrain, assess the threats, make sure you give the grid, designate IP, you determine the heading, everything. 1, 2, and 3, you have to do the same procedure, but 1, you spot the target. 2 and 3, you learn about the target by other means, meaning from either recon team or by other aircrafts or by other squad members or other intel. You learn it by other means which you cannot see. So you use type 2 or 3. Type 3 is an area engagement. Type 1 and type 2 is point targets. That means one target every time. Okay? Now, the next few slides, I won't go through it. You read it because I already mentioned it. This is just to tell you the whole flow, which if you want later on, we go out into practical, you should go through this flow. You should go Texas 17, this Windows 61. Then I will call in, you proceed. But this is a more detailed one. Later we go and we follow this flow. Tapi it's not so detailed as this where you got VDL codes 47. VDL is like the laser code from the what you call it is visual device laser codes on the A10s and all that. So each code has a different what you call this code and all that. So this is a very detailed. This is an extraction from an actual CAS joint document, which the U.S. Air Force uses it. It's good for you to read. It's quite fun if you interested in it. It gives you the entire flow to the end. Okay, move to the slide that says don't do this. Okay, don't do this is very simple. Like I said, really by right we shouldn't call it line 1, line 2, line 3, line 1 IP4, line 2. By right it should just be IP4 375. But it's okay lah. I mean, it's not going to be. We are not in the real Air Force lah. We are in Arma lah. So if you want to make it easy for you, call it line 1. Go ahead. I think the MEU virtual team they stick to the thing like nobody's business. They really follow procedure. There are people who really says do not do this in their games. Tapi kita party. Okay, the other thing we shouldn't do is 1900 or 1900 or something like that. You should call it by the numbers itself, 190 or 1900. Usually JTAC or forward observers or even recon and all that. They don't call it like 1900, 1900. They go by each digit, 1900 or 1900. That's the right way to do it. The other one is line 1 IP forward break, line 2 heading 360 break. Don't say the break because we're supposed to get through it ASAP. And likewise, target location. This what it means is that what it just means is that in real life usually they don't call it target location 040312. That means there shouldn't even be a pause lah. What you usually say, ready for grid. This will be a 6 grid 040312. Straight through, because sometimes when you break, the pilot will kind of get confused whether the next one is actually a heading or a grid, because there could be a heading 312 or it's actually part of a grid. So if you don't break 040312, very clear it's a grid. All right. That's it. I think the other two is pretty much an exercise. The talk on is if you look at the talk on is just simple lah. Literally, I will guide you step by step as a JTAC upon your contact. That means if I'm there, I say, do you see a MSR on the let's say I'm facing east on this map, and then there's a MSR north, and then there's a ASR, which is alternate supply route. There's a smaller route on the slightly south of it. I will give you a talk on. I would say Viking 1-1, this is Death Star 1-1. You see MSR right, north of my position. You see the MSR yang Jalan Besar tu. Then you say contact MSR. I said now, south 100 meters there is a ASR contact. You said. So I will tell you from the ASR, there's a small town west of it. You say contact. From that small town east, you will see a petrol station. That means I'll talk on to guide you step by step to a very precise target and how you're going to notice a motorcycle in between an alley. That's what they use by talk on to move the pilot to really go into a very specific, into like a bicycle on a small little alley. Also, the talk on will guide you towards that way by using this method. Okay. That's it for the theory part. Now, thank you very much for the theory. Now, you guys must say, yeah, you guys want to go ada masa ke, or you want to call it quits? Those who wants to go, I still okay to go to the range there to do 1 or 2.
Ada soalan.
Soalan, go ahead.
Okay, nak tanya sebab banyak sampel ni untuk agency kan, so banyak untuk penerbangan, so dia ada elevation point dengan ingress kan. So pasal auto helikopter, attack helikopter dia misalnya dia ada ingress juga.
Okay, tadi yang earlier part of the course when I said that dia punya IP is mainly for fixed wing kapal terbang. For helicopter, usually it's called a BP, better position. So BP kan most of the time is just a set point kat satu tempat yang most likely kat belakang bukit ke or something like that. I will put a square box macam tu, and I'll call it BP Alpha or something like that. So there's a better point Alpha. That's where the helicopter akan singgah lah. Dia akan hover sana. So it's different from the aircraft because aircraft can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be IP. Aircraft boleh kat mungkin satu klik north of IP. But when you start your run, dia mesti sampai IP and that's where they start. So helikopter lain sikit. Helikopter IP mungkin dekat sikit, mungkin belakang bukit and all that. By right it should be called BP lah. Tapi kita kat Arma pun sometimes we call it IP pun boleh lah.
Oh, ada stroke BP tu ada better point.
Yes.
Tapi dia sering pakai line juga lah.
Okay. Usually helicopter dia ada satu line punya which is called a 5 line. Again like I said, dia macam Medivac ada satu 9 line, helicopter ada 5 line. The basic info kat 5 line helicopter sama tau. Dia punya information is also in the 9 line. Tapi dia tukar dia punya line tau. Alamak, I tengok. So for the purpose of that means orang yang in real life helicopter pilot tau. Kita kat Arma, kita tank pilot, helicopter pilot, kita apa pun kita naik mah. So by right kita akan confused because if you are a helicopter pilot, you just memorize 5 line which is different from the 9 line. But for our purpose, sama you boleh buat 5 line. Like I said, dia punya 9 line 1, 2, 3, 4 kita boleh kata NA. 1, 2, 3 that means that when you start the 9 line, ready for 9 line, ready to take 9 line. 1, 2, 3, 4 NA. You cakap NA, line 1, 2, 3, 4 sudah is not applicable. That means sampai
line 1 still applicable lah sebab dia ada BP.
Tak payah. You see for helicopter, usually you are BP dah. Because you singgah kat sana dah. You kan singgah dah. Usually JTAC will say, I need you to move to BP. I need you to move to BP Alpha. So you pergi sana, you tunggu sana aja. So but from BP Alpha, later on ready for 9 line, you just say grid from is obviously you are coming from BP already. You tak payah ada tukar-tukar unless dia flexible sikit lah. Mungkin there are times that you need to move the BP, then you bagi lagi satu IP. Kat BP, then maybe north 500 meter you create satu baru punya IP Dragon ke apa. So from BP you kata okay, I need you to move IP Dragon. Then you kata wah line Dragon 234 NA macam tu boleh. Dragon 234 NA. Tak payah cakap dia punya elevation semua lah. So straight away from Dragon, that means you know IP Dragon, straight away masuk dia punya grid dah. Or dia punya description. Sorry, description.
Boleh bagi tahu juga lah kan. Kalau heading masih boleh bagi tahu lah straight ke target kan.
Boleh. Most of these guides saja. Like I said just now tadi we were talking dengan siapa dia I think was with Kunia ke Biskut when the shit hits the fan apa pun jalan as long you get the right information dia punya line semua jumble up pun tak apa as long the you know where your friendly is, your mark, you punya smoke, you punya enemy punya grid kat mana, you give general direction, cukup dah. Alright. Semua masih larat tak? Kalau larat, let's go to the teleport. Teleport there, go to JTAC. Jom.